Hello! Hi friends! Hope everybody's having a good day today. I'm back with some more Punishing Grey Raven main story. We've got 10 more stages to get through. I'm not sure how much we'll be able to do tonight, because this story has been taking a pretty long time, but we'll see. Forgot to open my chat thing. Alright, I guess let's just get started. Okay, Homecoming Banquet. Since I said I'd only say it once, I had to come up with another way. The world turns peacefully, flowing forward in orderly measure for 2 years. The zero-point reactor moves into its final testing stage. The lunar base's 4th phase expansion is taking shape on the drawing board. Just last month, the Copernicus outpost sent home its first collection of Martian core samples. Hi Neil! Hope you're having a good day today. The asteroid belt's mining fleet finally pushes off from the docks. The first unmanned extraction craft is accelerating toward Ceres's orbit to transmit its initial resource data by spring. I'm doing okay. I'm glad you're doing well. The second and third graduating classes leave the Academy one after another, scattering into the sweeping design of a civilization charging boldly ahead. Some depart for space. Others stay Earthside, keeping the peace on the Unification War's last open fronts, or driving hard against the Science Council's most critical projects. Oh, you finished your first cosmic tool today? Nice. That must have taken a lot of grinding to do it so quickly. And the first FOS graduates, too, stand at their posts wherever the need is greatest. Lucia rises to become an outstanding field commander. Posted to the forward lines at Actilect, she lives most days inside desert tents. Sometimes, late at night, she opens the terminal to glance at the time on the far side of the world. Because Luke is on that far side of Earth. Luke has been deployed to peacekeeping operations in the South Pacific, placed in charge of rebuilding defense networks across 3 island chain bases. The days drown in back-to-back meetings and paperwork that never lets up. You're unlocking manipulation on your armorer so you can do it again? Well, good luck. The two don't get to see each other often, but somehow they always manage to find 10 minutes, 20 minutes, just enough. Sometimes Lucia calls unexpectedly at 3 a.m. Not many words are spoken, but simply hearing Luke's voice is enough to let her fall asleep in peace. The weight of the day finally eased. Other times, Luke sends a photograph snapped between meetings. A South Pacific sunset washed in orange and red. Caption, "The sun looks bigger here than it does on your side." Once in a while, when their leave falls into alignment, the two find a quiet resort island in the Indian Ocean. A whole day of nothing. Just holding each other close. Not really. Not for me. The ocean breeze drifting over them, watching the sun go down and the dawn come up. And yeah, I've seen stuff about the Cyberpunk collab with Wuwa for a long time now. Yeah. Comes out on Monday, I'm pretty sure. I think? Is it Monday? Yeah, I think it's Monday. is in college now. She chose photography as her major, and those two friends of hers, Roland and Lamia, are still right beside her. Word is their band is really taking off, and several major labels are already looking to sign them. The Ascendants are a band. Yeah, I know there was a thing for it during the Summer Games Fest. So I guess if you're not following WUWA, that probably would be the first you've heard of it. Although I don't know anything about cyberpunk, so I'm probably gonna go into it not knowing a lot of things. Well, I mean, you don't play the game. I mean, why would you know stuff about it if you don't play it, you know? Yeah, I knew that much. I knew that the show is depressing. Whenever her little sister comes up, Lucia can't keep the smile from her face. One summer night this year, Lucia makes a promise to Luke that once things settle down, she'll bring Luke home to meet Luna and her parents. In a platonic way, I assume. Or I guess, less I assume, but more I enforce. Joanne and Ophelia's labs have merged into a single operation. After 2 years of working side by side, the pair have risen to become the youngest technical experts on the Science Council. Ophelia breaks through the nanotechnology bottleneck, and Joanne, drawing fresh insight from the work, reinterprets the engineering data transmitted by the Landau probe 16 years ago, unlocking a new breakthrough for the Crown Sapphire's development. For the past 6 months, Lucia and Luke have been regular visitors to their lab, called in for compatibility tests for the Crown. Tests are tedious, abstract, demanding repeated trips back to FOS for deep-level brain scans. Each time, Lucia finishes feeling as though her mind has been turned inside out, every memory taken apart, inspected, and crammed back in. The sensation unsettles her, but Luke says it matters for the future of humanity, so she bears it. Adelaide follows the longest road out, then she follows it back. During an orbital drop, her landing pod fails. The ligaments in her right knee are torn. The surgery is a success, the recovery too, but the medical report leaves no room for interpretation. She's no longer fit for frontline combat. She doesn't argue. She simply returns to FOS and takes up the role of instructor. Her cadets say she is stern, quiet, impossible to read. But on every field training exercise, she is always the first one forward, even when the dull ache in her right knee never leaves her. Ophelia has made a habit of accompanying her to the clinic every fortnight, and the top drawer of Adelaide's desk is perpetually full of pain relief patches, gathered and gifted by all of them. I feel like the story is like kind of trying to force on me like the Commandant Lucia ship, but I'm over here being like Ophelia and Adelaide though. What's their deal? What about them? I feel like it's like maybe even it's probably one of those things where like they didn't even intend for it to be that way, and I'm over here just like, but The chemistry. Hi, Ash Frost. How are you? Hope you're doing well. In 2160, just before the FOS homecoming day, every member of the inaugural class receives an invitation from their alma mater to the anniversary gala. Nearly at once, Joanne, Adelaide, and Ophelia receive 2 additional mails. One from Lucia, one from Luke. From what's written, it's clear the 2 hadn't coordinated, and each seems intent on keeping it a surprise. The messages set everyone off chuckling, everyone but Adelaide, who only allows herself a more subdued smile. By all appearances, this gala is about to become a double celebration. Oh boy, where is this going? I hope I'm wrong. So they each pull their old academy uniforms from storage and wait eagerly for homecoming day to come. Homecoming Day, Gala Hall, June 20th, 2160. FOS Military Command College. Tonight's banquet unfolds beneath the college auditorium's great dome. 2 years ago, Cassandra won her budget standoff with the United Government, a hard-fought victory, and transformed the ceiling into a canopy of stars. The dome itself is a single sweeping projection screen, fed live data from orbital observatories, painting the real heavens above the gathering. Tonight, the projection is startlingly vivid. The Milky Way arcs across the full span of the dome, and a careful eye can even trace the 4 Galilean moons circling Jupiter. See? This is the starry dome I told you about. The world government called it frivolous, not in keeping with military facility standards, as if beauty and bunkers can't share a roof. These children have spent years staring at reinforced concrete. One night under the actual heavens, eating something that didn't come from a ration package. Is that so decadent? So remind me, how did I finally win those tasteless people over? If I recall correctly, ma'am, you threatened Dominic by filing 17 consecutive formal complaints. A woman of means does not file complaints, my dear. That's called standing on principle. She sweeps her hair behind her. Today she's wound a string of small lights around her knuckles, and they flicker in time with the starry dome above. Yeah, she's valid for this. I think she's valid for this. So, eat, drink, dance if your legs still remember how. It's homecoming day. The world outside can wait one more evening. When the music swells, the hall is packed. Not just with the first graduates, but alumni delegates from every year. Instructors, researchers, and even the council's engineers fill the room. White linen covers the long banquet tables. The cutlery gleams softly beneath the star-filled dome, and wisps of steam curl upward from the feast. But no matter where the conversation flows, eyes keep straying, again and again, to the 2 seats at the very center of the hall. Lucia is dressed in the dress uniform gifted by the Academy. Clean-cut lines, shoulders set sharp, a small FOS emblem pinned over her heart. She's never been comfortable in formal wear, and her fingers keep drifting unconsciously to her cuffs. Luke sits beside her, wearing a matching outfit in a deeper shade. Pinned to Luke's chest is a new medal, the unit insignia awarded after the peacekeeping mission that wrapped up just last month. Joanne leans across the table, hand cupped over her mouth, and whispers, "Lucia, your collar is crooked." It's not. It is! It's tilted slightly to the left. It's the design. I already told you, it's not... Just then, Luke's hand reaches across to set Lucia's collar right. Lucia tilts her head, just slightly, but she doesn't pull away. Did you just chuckle? No, I didn't. I was just clearing my throat. Ophelia slips through the crowd, a stemmed glass in her hand, and takes the chair next to Joanne. She's wearing her old school skirt today, her hair falling free around her shoulders, a world apart from the perpetually ponytailed, arms akimbo figure seen in the lab. Alright, quit staring at those two. You look like a paparazzo trying to get a sneaky shot. I wasn't taking photos. I was just looking. What is there to gawk at? It's not like they just got together today. But today's different. Today is... Shh! Ophelia lifts her glass, using it to shield her mouth as she scans the room, checking that Lucia and Luke aren't paying attention. Yeah, I have a feeling I know where this is going. I'm not a huge fan of it. But I guess at least I can hide behind the reality that this is an alternate timeline. I think it is, yeah. I'm not really here for that. Not with Lucia, anyway. I know. Everything's in place. So it's confirmed? Both of them are really gonna... Oh my god. And doesn't that mean... Shh! Do you want the whole hall to hear you? Joanne nods back with desperate enthusiasm, hands clamped tight over her mouth, but her eyes are already smiling, curved into delighted little crescents. Oh, by the way, Professor Dominic is running the first ignition test tonight. You guys know about it, right? The 0-point reactor? Please. As if I'd trade this for some dusty lab bench. Oh wait, so they're doing the... They're doing the ignition test for the 0-point reactor tonight. Interesting. Does that mean the apocalypse is going to save me from a straight ship? Experiments can wait. They'll always be there. But meeting with friends? How many more times do you think we get? One less every time. Adelaide sits tucked away in a corner with a handful of young cadets, who are the students she's mentoring now. Ophelia makes her way over, wine glass in hand. Why are you camped out in the corner? My students are here. They're cadets, not ducklings. Let them breathe. Instructors should stay with their students. You're not an instructor tonight. It's homecoming day. Read the invitation, alumna. Ophelia settles into the seat beside her and slides another glass across the table. Have a drink. I can't. What? One promotion and suddenly you're too distinguished for a drink? Adelaide's gaze drops to the glass, then lifts to Ophelia. Just one. Adelaide drains the glass in a single tilt. Ophelia's gaze drops, just briefly, to the exoskeleton bracing her right leg. Does it still hurt? It doesn't hurt. I notice it when the weather turns, that's all. You notice it, right? Because it really isn't serious. 700 meters, Adelaide. You fell from that height. Define not serious for me, please. Mission objective achieved. All hostages evacuated safely. Huh. She takes a long drink and sets the glass down on the table with a heavy thud. See, I say it again. I'm more interested in whatever these two have going on. God, you're insufferable. You know that? You've mentioned that plenty of times. Don't do it again. Ever. We were all worried about you. Adelaide doesn't answer. Adelaide! Be careful. I don't know, Kuro likes characters with monochromatic palettes. There's a lot of white-haired characters in both games. Ophelia knows exactly what those words mean. I'm not making any promises. But tonight, she lets it go. The banquet hums with a good feeling. Tonight, everyone seems to be holding their breath for something. Even the stiffest guests carry a looser, lighter air. Glasses clink and voices rise. Some recount their last 2 years. Others spin old heroic tales for wide-eyed underclassmen. And a few circle half the hall just to touch glasses with a long-lost classmate. Lucia and Luke sit side by side at the center of the long table, on the seats reserved for outstanding graduate representatives. Their dress uniforms are immaculate, academy badges glinting beneath the starry dome. Lucia's plate remains almost untouched. She's been listening to Luke talk with the people nearby, adding a word here and there, though mostly she just listens. Beneath the table, her right hand keeps drifting absently towards something tucked inside her uniform's inner pocket. Luke's left hand carries the same restless habit, while neither one notices the other is doing precisely the same thing. But Joanne notices. She can sense that both of them are waiting for just the right moment. What if it turns out to be something completely different? And I'm just like, oh, okay. So she draws a deep breath, tightens her grip on her terminal, and rises from her seat. Everyone, sorry for the interruption. The noise in the hall slowly quiets. Just last night, I received word from our lab and... Her voice is shaking. The third stage analysis of the crown Sapphira is finally completed. Silence settles over the hall, deep enough that the faint hum of the dome projector fills the air. After all these years of iteration, of dead ends and recalibrations, we finally brought the matching threshold down to a feasible range. So Gestalt ran a worldwide matching scan. She looks at Lucia and Luke. Out of all the eligible candidates on this planet, only 2 have a mind structure perfectly compatible with the crown Sapphira. It's you 2, Lucia, Luke. The hall erupts. Some gasp, some burst into applause, and a few, who haven't quite caught what's happening, get swept up in the excitement anyway. Lucia turns to Luke without a word. What exactly does that mean? She turns her terminal around. On the screen is a diagram of a gravitational field interference model. If the crown achieves operational status, it means direct, localized manipulation of the gravitational field, which, in practical terms, means we can fold space. The implications are enormous. Interstellar travel without relativistic constraints. Proxima Centauri, Sirius, and even places beyond, all within reach. And in more extreme theoretical applications, we could even potentially influence past events to steer history toward a brighter future. Her voice grows brighter. When Professor Dominic received that signal from space 16 years ago, the professor already saw this path ahead. Spent so many years, so many people pouring their hearts into this. Today, we're finally here. Tears gather at the corners of her eyes. yet her smile shines through. You two, Lucia, Luke. You might be the first people in human history to really touch the stars. Applause rises again, louder this time. Listen. That sounds nice, but beware of time fuckery. Lucia listens to all of it in silence, then lifts her head. Above her, the Milky Way stretches across the star-filled dome, every pinpoint of light glowing quietly in place. That light has traveled hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of years to arrive here. And now Joanne is telling her that one day, she might reach out and touch its source with her own hands. She gazes upward for a long moment. Luke does the same. The two sit side by side, heads tilted back, starlight falling across their faces and settling on the fabric of their dress uniforms. Then, without turning, Lucia reaches out. Her fingertip brushes the back of Luke's hand. Like nothing has changed between us. What do you mean? The day we enrolled, we stood there looking up at Dawn 3. And now here we are, looking up at the stars. Yeah. Lucia turns to face Luke, her gaze steady and resolute, as if she's finally made up her mind. Luke, there's something I want to tell you. At almost the exact same moment, Luke speaks up too. Lucia, there's something I want to tell you. For a beat, they both go still. You first. You first. I said you first. Wanna just say it together? In the next instant, both of them reach into their inner pockets at the same time, pulling something out and hiding it behind their backs. Remember what happened on the moon? The lunar rover ride? Not that, you fool. I know. A sea of eyes watches. Overhead, the dome's starlight falls across them both, and their shadows stretch across the table, layered one over the other. I remember. You shut off the comms channel and said something to me. And then your face went a little red. Did not. That was Earth's reflection on my visor. Lucia's eyes find Luke. Her lips move, just barely, before she seals them tight. I told you back then, I'd only say it once. Yeah? I lied. After that, there were so many times I wanted to say it again. Lying awake at 3 in the morning in North Africa, I wanted to say it. Checking my gear before a mission, I wanted to say it. And when I saw those sunset photos you sent me from the South Pacific, so terribly shot, honestly, but I still wanted to say it. So why didn't you? Because I said only this once. So I figured out another way. Slowly, she draws her hand out from behind her back. What a coincidence. What? I figured out a way too. The two stand face to face, each holding a delicate little box. And inside it is a bomb! Curveball, baby! Their expressions shift from shock to something far harder to name. Somewhere between laughter and a sigh. Mouths opening as if to speak, but no words coming out. Joanne is already on the verge of tears. Ophelia's face flushes red, her laughter barely contained. And Adelaide's mouth gives the faintest twitch, which, by her standards, is practically a roar of laughter. Luke, will you... Someone starts clapping. The sound catches, spreading. All across the hall, mouths open, breath drawn for a cheer. But the joyful laughter dies in their throats. Oh my god, I was right. The apocalypse is gonna prevent me from being straight. Overhead, a deafening crash comes. The dome of stars splits open at its center. Fractures spider outward in all directions. It's quick as lightning, fine as webbing, wrong as something clawing its way in from the other side. Spread out! The dome's glass shatters into a million pieces, refracting blinding light in every direction, like a blizzard falling upward. The lights flicker, then everything goes dark. And with the darkness comes something else. An eerie fog rolling in. White fog pours down through the fractured dome, flooding through every door, every window, every ventilation shaft. It has texture and weight, nothing like smoke or vapor. It slides across skin like cold silk, swelling as it moves, swallowing tables and silverware, devouring every last trace of light on the floor. Screams, glass splintering. Every sound gets caught in the thickening fog, warped, pushed farther and farther away. What's happening? Her hand shoots out blindly, grasping for anyone within reach, and catches the fabric of Ophelia's sleeve. No, but Joanne, the whole place is coming down! Just a second ago, Lucia and Luke were right there, barely 3 steps off. Ring boxes raised, wearing matching looks of stunned, goofy happiness. And I reject that. Now the space is empty. Lucia? Lucia? Luke? Her voice is swallowed whole by the white fog, like it's been thrown into an abyss made of cotton. They were just right here! Don't panic. Stay together. From beyond the hall, more sounds rise as if something is clawing its way up from underground, dragging it with it the scream of twisting steel and the piercing shriek of dying electronics. A sudden burn sears her palm. She looks down and sees her terminal writhe with blood-red symbols, its surface glowing like molten iron. Crimson current crackles outward, eating through her glove and biting into her skin. She hurls it away without a thought. A scream tears through the air beside Joanne. She turns. A student wearing tactical goggles crumples to the ground, the lenses glowing crimson, searing into her eyes, her nose melting through skin and bone like liquid corrosion. And all this just to keep me gay. The world knew something was wrong. Within seconds, her head dissolves into a spreading pool of blood. Discard all your electronics, now! What the hell is this? Is it an attack? No. This is not right. The auditorium shudders as if its bones have snapped, weighing under the weight of deafening roars. Ophelia seizes Joanne by the hand and pulls her into a frantic run. Joanne stumbles forward with her in a haze. I know, considering that they're called hetero creatures, it's even more ironic. She glances back at the nightmare unspooling behind them, and a terrible certainty grips her. It's the 0-point reactor. 0 point? What are you talking about? Outside the window, across the square, the training mechs are moving. Ranked and orderly just moments ago, now their hulls ripple, armor buckling, tearing, resealing like muscle and membrane. Their limbs fold backward at impossible geometry. Red current crackles from their joints, raw as torn veins. Cockpit glass bursts outward. The pilot seats lie empty, but the machines stand up anyway. The moment the reactor connected to the power grid, if something propagated through, if it spread, that would explain the electronics. Save it for later. Run now. Adelaide picks up a broken metal table leg from the floor. She hefts it once, testing the weight, then locks her grip around it. Her right knee throbs with every step. She doesn't slow. Drop your smart weapons. Do not touch any electronics. From up, form up. Groups of 3, whoever's closest to you. Grab anything you can use as a weapon. Roger! There's no arsenal in the hallway outside the auditorium, but FOS students don't need one. Table legs are wrenched loose. Steel tubes are snapped from chair backs. Dinner knives find their way into clenched fists, and ceramic vases are shattered against the floor, with only the sharpest shards kept. In under 20 seconds, every person still standing in the hall is armed. The downed guard mechs have grenades. Old stock, still viable. 1 per squad. Do not use them without my command. Understood? All squads, stay tight. We fall back to Prism Square. Roger! Come on, you monsters! The first corrupted crawls out from a side passage and lunges straight for the students, only to be met with 6 steel pipes smashing down as one. 3 meet it head-on. 2 seal the flanks. 1 watches the rear. It's the standard 6-person close-quarters suppression formation, a mandatory first-year course at FOS. Hi Cole! How are you? Hope you're having a good day. This thing won't go down! You don't need to kill it. Break the joints. Keep it off its feet. By the time the second wave of corrupted surges forward, the students have already fallen into a coordinated fighting retreat. The front rank engages. The rear rank observes. Every 10 steps, fresh fighters rotate forward, and the wounded are pulled to the center. Nobody ever trained them for this nightmare, but FOS has trained them for everything. A giant corrupted's tail drives clean through Nia's left side, smashing her back against a fallen pillar. She's hit! Cover her! Ugh! A student lunges with a metal plate held high. The corrupted pivots, striking sideways. Its pincer lashes out and cleaves through his left leg, clean as a blade through soft butter. You've been doing good? Glad to hear it. I'm okay. I'm a little miffed with the story right now, but I'll talk about that more after this stage is done. Oh, hi, Sticker Glue. How are you? Been a while since I've seen you. I'm doing okay. I hope you are too. Not too bad? Good. Yeah, I'm a little miffed with something in the game story right now, but I'll talk about it more when the stage finishes and there's a natural break. You've been going to bed on the earlier side? Oh, I see. Oh, but I even started a little later today. So, does that mean you're up late? If you need to go to sleep, it's okay. You know, you gotta do what you gotta do. If you need rest, you need rest. You were playing Chained together with a friend? Ah, I see. Don't worry about me. Just go. FOS will never. Oh, now you're getting ready to play Escape the Backrooms. Ooh, exciting. Leave anyone behind! Push together. Aim for the joints. A jet of scorching steam bursts from the thing's metal joints, hurling 2 students backwards. The corrupted raises its claw high, steps forward, and chops down viciously at the fallen student before it. Clang! The claw freezes inches from the student's face. The corrupted snaps its head around, its tail still speared through Nia and into the stone pillar behind her, is locked in her grip. It cannot advance. Blood spills from Nia's mouth. Along the length of the tail impaling her, she forces her ruined body forward, inch after agonizing inch, closing the distance to the corrupted's core. Yeah. First class cadet of FOS. Designation 374. She pulls a grenade from her belt and bites down on the pin, blood staining her teeth. For tomorrow! The blast lands in every ear like a stone dropped into dead water, rippling through the chaos. It reminds everyone still standing on that battlefield what hangs at their hips, and what their bodies are still capable of. The corrupted surge forward in waves of steel. One wave recedes, the next crashes in behind it, their metallic shrieks pressing in from all sides. A second explosion rings out. First class cadet Hanif, designation 264. It's Hanif, the same one? Mr. Hot Boy from Vera's chapter? Or is it just a different guy with the same name? I mean, he also lost his arm. That feels like a reference. The corrupted takes his right arm. With the last of his strength, he pulls the pin, charges the 2 nearest corrupted, and blows them all to pieces. The third, First Class Cadet Veeble, designation 197. The fourth, Second Class Cadet Sika, designation 367. No, not Sika. Is your interest piqued now that you heard about the return of Hot Boy Cole? Although he only returned for like 2 lines and then died in an alternate timeline. One after another, grenade blasts tear through the air, their echoes rolling across the chaos of the battlefield. They use everything FOS taught them, including themselves, to carve out the only path forward for their comrades. Hot boy who? You're looking for a hot boy boyfriend? Oh, it was this character named Hanif. He was from like an older chapter. He was pretty handsome. I think he just like showed up again. And this is in like this part of the story right now takes place in an alternate timeline. And he just died, I think. But the version of him in our timeline is probably still fine. He's missing an arm still, but he's alive. Yeah, everything's so sad right now. We need some hot boys. By the time they break through to the first floor, the group has shrunk by a full measure. One more push through the training wing, and they'll spill out into Prism Square, which means open ground, room to breathe, a chance to break the stranglehold of fighting in corridors. As the others prepare to move, Joanne drifts to the back of the line. Without a word, she peels away and walks the other way.
Joanne? Where do you think you're going?
Joanne freezes mid-step. Pause. Then, reluctantly, she turns her head.
The crown is still in the lab building. I have to get it out. Are you insane? That whole sector is swarmed. If the crown gets corrupted too, never mind the catastrophe it could cause. 16 years. The research, the data, everything everyone fought for. All of it will be gone. How much sacrifice is poured into it? You grew up in the TEC. You know better than anyone what that means. I have to get it to Lucia and Luke.
Ophelia's lips part. A retort rises, then dies before it reaches the air.
You couldn't even fight your way out of a paper bag. I'm coming with you.
She pulls the bandage taut across her right shoulder, breathes in deep, and heads into the shadows behind them. Wait.
Adelaide?
Adelaide holds her ground. Her eyes flick between Joanne and Ophelia, and settle on the lieutenant beside her. Take everyone to the square. Regroup with the main force there.
Where are you going?
The crown is still in the lab building.
It'll be too dangerous for just the three of you. We can go with you.
No. You're going to the square.
Adelaide?
We cannot afford to lose the crown or FOS. 3 is enough for the lab building, but those things out there won't wait. Someone needs to cut a path to the square and cover the wounded along the way. Her eyes sweep over the injured students at her back, then settle on the lieutenant. You've been in the field longer than I have these years. Get everyone through this floor. I know you can.
What about you?
We'll go where we need to go. So will you. The lieutenant falls silent for 2 seconds, then gives a single nod.
All of you? Come back alive.
Yeah, we will. The lieutenant turns and calls out to the group. The formation draws tight, and they begin their push toward the training area. Ophelia watches Adelaide approach. A dozen sharp remarks sit ready on her lips. In the end, all that comes out is a click of her tongue.
Can you even run on that knee?
It won't slow me down.
Right, like I'm supposed to believe that.
Joanne raises her head. Her eyes find the 2 friends in front of her, and her nose prickles with the threat of tears.
Yeah, you're supposed to run on feet, not knees. Think. Save it, we're moving.
The 3 turn and rush toward the corridor that leads to the lab building. Oh, okay. Okay, so yeah, I said I would talk about what miffed me about this once I got to the break between stages, and here we are. So let's talk. I know Cole and Sticker Glue just got here, so you probably didn't see. So I recognize that this current part of the story is taking place in an alternate timeline. Even so, in this alternate timeline, another version of the player character, the Commandant, is there. And, like, the Commandant is supposed to be a self-insert. Like, that's never really been ambiguous. And so, when they do stuff like, I mean, they've done like shippy things before. They've never gone so far. Oh, hi, Yue. Hi. I hope you're having a good day. Yeah, so they've done shippy things before, but they've never gone so far as, like, I mean, there have been, like, wedding skins for characters, but those are all like side content, you know? They've never gone so far as like in the main story having the self-insert character like almost do a proposal to one of the characters. That bothers me a bit. Yeah, there were, like I said, there were bombs in those boxes. They weren't actually rings. It was a fake out. They were gonna kill each other. You remember I streamed a chapter that was like a date? If you're referring to the like Kamui Bond story, yeah, the Bond stories do tend to be shippier. I give them a bit more leeway with that. But this is like a main story chapter. And I think like, here's the other thing. I'm fine with like other characters having feelings for the self-insert player character. In games like this, that's pretty common. Where my issue comes from is making the self-insert character return them without giving the player any agency. Because, like, I'm sure you all know, if it were me, I would not be going for Lucia in a romantic way at all. That would be staunchly platonic. God, right? Imagine if I did have the option to reject her. That'd be crazy. But like, yeah, I'm not a fan, and I guess you could like kind of say like, oh well, it's an alternate timeline. It doesn't actually reflect on like your player character, but it's still the same character, you know? It's still the same character in an alternate timeline. They're making that clear. It's still very much meant to be self-insert stuff. I don't like when they do that. When they yeah, like I would have been okay if it was like implied from Lucia's side, as it already is. Like I've been okay with that. Like lots of characters, male and female, show like pretty thinly veiled romantic interest in the Commandant. I'm okay with that. It's when they force my hand about it that it bothers me a bit. And it's also interesting because it kind of conflicts with something else that I said a long time ago. When I did the Shaper's Ripples chapter, another chapter that features Lucia, although this version features Alpha, which is like technically a different character. There was also like sort of a romantic thing that could happen in that chapter. Like they actually within the main story during Shaper's Ripples did give the opportunity for like Lucia to confess her love to the Commandant, but that was all dependent on dialogue options. And so that didn't happen in my playthrough because I chose the more platonic dialogue options. And I thought that was really neat because I thought, you know, like it allows players who want to have that kind of relationship to have it, while also not, you know, forcing the hand of players who don't necessarily want that. It allowed us to keep our agency as the self-insert player character. And it's wild that they're doing it so differently this time. it does miff me quite a bit. But at least like you said, Yue, I can look back at the Kamui Bond chapter and think, yes. That was nice. I think another part of it is that there's also a lot of, like... Is that seen a proposal if you're female commandant? I believe so. I don't think there have ever been any differences based on the player character's gender. So if it was different this time, that would be surprising. At least there's forced Yuri. I mean, this is where I could get into a broader conversation about some of the culture around this kind of game. I'm not sure if people are here for that, for hearing me talk about the broader cultural context, but there's kind of there's a lot of like misogyny and like homophobia, transphobia and stuff in these kind of fandoms, because a lot of the players are, as is the case with a lot of other game communities, a lot of the players are straight men who think that video games only exist for them. I'm sure you've encountered the kind. We're all familiar with them. And so it's always this like thing of like I know a lot of people who've been wanting more male characters in these kinds of games because they're either like women or they're queer people who like men and don't like women, and they're like I want more like attractive male characters and shippy stuff with male characters. I'm one of these people. And a lot of these straight guys are like, you tourists, how dare you come to a game that is made for straight men and bring your queerness here. How dare you? And I'm like, I mean, I have a lot of thoughts about that. Like, does it not benefit companies to appeal to a wider audience? I fail to see how this could possibly negatively impact their sales. Like, that's one of the arguments you get a lot, is like, oh well, there's an audience that they have of straight men who will shell out all this money for their waifus, and it's like, I feel like in almost every business situation, having a broader demographic to get money from is a better decision. Because, like, yeah, you might have, like, a really dedicated demographic right now, but wouldn't it make more sense to just draw from a larger pool and have a... Like, you could be getting... I don't know. I'm not a business person. I have a lot of thoughts about this. None of them very positive. And it also just kind of sucks because I feel like PGR was one of the games that did have a lot more male representation back in the day. But as time went on, this is another trend with these kinds of games, is they tend to start off with more mixed gender casts, and then as time goes on, slowly wean off the male characters. And it does kind of, like other people have said this before as well, it does kind of feel like a bait and switch. It feels like kind of a like oh, you did it for a bit and pulled people in, and then now that and then after a little while you're just kind of going to leave behind one of the groups that you pulled in. Because I mean, there is a large group of people who play this game and other games like it because they like the male characters. I know there's even like a fan-made Otome game for PGR with some of the male characters, and that was made like years ago, like when the game was still relatively new. And it just feels like they've decided to leave behind some people. Like, see, that's the other thing, is those people will say like, oh, well, these games were always made for straight men. But like, they had the other audience as well. They had that. And they could have just kept right along with that. But at some point they made the decision to pivot. It's just annoying. And a lot of the time it doesn't really bother me that much. Because like with Wuthering Waves, I'll definitely say this. Like, yeah, I would love more male characters in Wuthering Waves. But the thing about Wuthering Waves is I still think every character we get is really good and really well written, really well designed. So like, even if we're getting a lot more female characters than male characters, I don't have a huge issue with it because I still like all the characters. And I, for the most part, feel that way about PGR too. But PGR has been going a little harder in this direction, I think. Where like in Wuthering Waves, there hasn't yet, I guess I shouldn't say, I hope there isn't, but in Wua there has never been a moment yet where it like there have been some very shippy moments with female characters, and I just kind of like was like, okay, I can move past this. Like it's never been this overt. And I don't, that's the other thing, is like going back to what I said about Shaper's Ripples. They had an opportunity for like Lucia and Commandant to have a romantic moment, but that was within the player's agency to decide. And so it's like I had a point and then I kind of lost my words. So like, yeah, it's the problem is, for me, the agency. Like, I don't have a problem with the characters having feelings for the self-insert player character. That happens all the time. I don't have a problem with it. It'd be hypocritical of me to say I like it when it happens with the male characters, but that it can't happen ever with female characters. That would be hypocritical of me. So I don't say that. I think it's fine as long as I'm not forced to partake in it. And they've been pushing it further and further in PGR, I think. And I think this is the first moment where it's gotten to a point where I'm like, okay, come on. I'm really checking out here. Like the whole thing of that chapter was like before the apocalypse hit, which again, side note, the one other thing about this circumstance does it is very funny that the apocalypse happened right before the proposal, because that does mean that that I almost was made straight and then the world ended. It's funny for me to believe that the world ending was in part due to forced straightness. So yeah, not a fan of what that was. And it sucks because I was really enjoying this chapter. Because like in one of the parts before, there was like a cute scene with all the like student characters where they were like sharing a cake for Lucia's birthday. There was a part where I was like worried it was gonna get romantic. And then it turned out to just be like a birthday celebration for Lucia. And I was just like, oh, okay, that's nice. That's cute. But then they did this. And I'm like, oh, okay. No thanks. It does make me wonder though, what the broader reaction of the players to this chapter is going to be. I mean, I'm sure some people will love it. I'm sure some people will hate it. I don't know. I guess I'll just say this. I don't know. Part of it feels shallow for me to say. But like this is a bit of a low point for me with this game's story. I do really like this game's story. They do the bleak apocalyptic stuff really well. They know how to balance the like crushing dread and despair with moments of hope and levity. I think for the most part it's still a pretty good story. But this is a low point for me. And it sucks that it's just because of something as superficial as like a proposal. You had a similar issue with Metaphor v Fantasio. They made one of the characters a canon romance, but in the other series you had options. Really? I've seen a few people stream that game and I never saw that happen. Wait, who? Who's the canon romance? I missed that completely, if that happened. Oh, really? Really? Huh. Yeah, I missed that entirely when I watched other people stream. I guess I never really watched people stream the moments of the story that were focused on her, though. Also, of course, intermittently watching a few people stream a game is not the same as playing it in its entirety. Yeah. Yeah, that is just a problem that comes up with a lot of these games. A lot of the time, self-insert protagonists sometimes get slotted into the straight male viewpoint, and it does just kind of suck for everyone who's not that. it, but I guess I'll keep going, you know? Hopefully the apocalypse has successfully ruined the romantic moment. It also sucks that this comes right after the Kamui patch, because the Kamui patch was like a huge highlight for me. It's like, oh, we're finally getting another male character, and he's hot, and he's got just as much like ship tease, and he's really fun to play as. He's not getting written off in any way. He's like getting equal treatment from the narrative and the gameplay and stuff. And yeah, they should always let your self-insert protagonist date men. Always, always, always. The only exception to that rule, I would say, is like if it is something that is very explicitly like if it's a dating sim where all of the dateable characters are women, fine. That's okay. Because that makes itself clear. It's like in this game you will date women. And I'm like, cool. Let that be for the people who want it. Because then like on the other end of things you have like otome games and BL games or Yuri games. They are like designed very explicitly for. Do I play straight dating sims? Not ones where you date men. I mean, not ones where you date women. Yes, ones where you date men. I've played otome games. I don't really have an issue projecting onto a female protagonist. I know some people do. It's not really a problem for me. Or like another thing is even within like the gacha game space, there are some games where all of the characters that you pull for are either all men or all women. I actually do think that's okay. Mainly because, again, it makes itself clear from the beginning. Like there are plenty of gacha games that are only the only playable characters from the beginning have been women, and I'm fine with that. I even played one of them for a while, and I had a nice time because I was never under the illusion it was going to be something different, you know? also that game in particular had like a lot of Yuri ships that came so close to being canon, so close. So I wasn't even really thinking about like self-insert stuff for that. And like, yeah, like I think those games are fine because they make what they are very clear. And I can go into the game knowing that, you know? Whereas with other games that I have this grievance with, they present themselves initially along more of a mixed line, and then slowly or quickly kind of go back on that and be like, nope, it's mostly women now. I also feel like I have to, you do have to be a little careful with this kind of thing, because there is a very fine line between complaining about what I'm complaining about and getting misogynistic. Because I've seen some people who complain about the same thing I complain about get very misogynistic about it, just in the other direction. Like degrading all the women, saying like, ugh, these women are like slut-shaming the female characters, reducing them down to just being waifus when they might have more going on. Like, that's another thing with like similar games that's happened that also pisses me off, where like anytime a female character has a positive interaction with the player character, it's like, oh, they're making them date. And it's like, what? I mean, like, sometimes, like this, that is what's happening. But in a lot of times when it happens, I'm like, what? This is not a date. This is just two characters having a positive interaction and spending time together. I guess I just bring that up because like there is a fine line between having the issues that I have and going into a misogynistic viewpoint, but misogynistic in like it's like one of those things where it's like something, it's like going so far away from misogyny that you wrap right back around to misogyny. Because there's the misogyny of like, you know, like, look at my waifus, commodification, objectification, and that kind of thing. And then there is the kind of inverse pole of that, which is taking like female characters who are more than that and reducing them to, oh, this character's just waifu bait. I have problems with both of those viewpoints. Because Wuwa is a game that's happened with, where I've seen a lot of female characters that I think are really well written be reduced to waifu bait, and have people be like, oh, well, they're just trying to force a ship with this character, and there's nothing deeper there. And I'm like, excuse you? I really liked this story, actually. And for reasons completely independent of anything shippy. It's like, I think there's still something to love there in some of these stories. But getting back to what's happening in the here and now, this did go a little too far for me. Putting a ring in my hand and making me almost about to propose to Lucia, I'm like, no thanks. That's not my self-insert character anymore. Want to know a funny situation in the same realm? Sure. Yeah, feel free to share, I guess. Yeah, so I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed with the way that they've removed my agency here. There was also another chapter in this game a while ago. It was the chapter with Liv's newest frame, where it did get a little close to that for me. Like there was a part in that chapter where it did kind of make you and Liv into like a nuclear family with the little girl who it turned out was the villain. But that I did kind of like that got a little close for me, but I did ultimately get past it because even within the game's universe, that was something that was being forced on you. Like it's the villain's idea of like what you would want, what a happy life would be. And then also, notably, the villains tried to kill you off within that fantasy so that they could monopolize Liv. And that backfired for them pretty hard. And also it turned out that Liv was never fooled the entire time and she was just playing along, waiting for her moment to break free. Like, it came close, but it didn't get quite there for me. This one did. But yeah, let's move on. Let's move on. Hope that any forced straightness is in the past. Or at least securely within this alternate timeline so that main timeline me can be firmly gay. Okay, wait, let me... As a fan of the Rune Factory series, you were disappointed they didn't launch 5 with gay marriage after the sister series, Story of Seasons, had it. For the American launch, they announced they were patching it in to near universal approval because the gays can be gays, and the completionists didn't need to play the game twice to romance all the characters. I think it would be lovely if that were the case with a lot of these, like, gacha game communities, because unfortunately a lot of the straight male audience does not see it that way. Like, if there are men anywhere in these games, they tend to be like, get that man out of here. It's like, it's so weird and entitled to me, because it's like, they are getting basically what they want almost all the time. And then when there's like maybe one male character a year, they're like, this is just pandering or whatever. It's like, come on. You're getting what you want all the time. You can stand to not get what you want a little bit because a lot of other people are putting up with it a lot of the time. If I can play one of these games and only get a male character like once every 6 months or once every year and still have a good time, then guess what? You can put up with not having a new female character to ship yourself with for once every 3 weeks. Again, I worry that I'm getting close to the fine line of looping back around to misogyny. But it's one of those things where it's like I don't have a problem with the female characters themselves. It's more, I don't like the way that men objectify them and commodify them. And am I being hypocritical? Perhaps a little bit, yes, because I do feel like I do objectify the male characters. But there is also kind of, you know, the broader cultural context to take into account. because, like, women have traditionally been objectified a lot more than men. So it feels kind of like, it feels like balance when I objectify men. Also, you're right, these games do make money off of objectifying and even commodifying their characters. Like, that is ultimately one of the draws about this kind of game, where, like, the thing you try to get the characters, like, and that does inherently make them into a commodity that is for sale. And that's I think that's even a broader conversation that could be gotten into. No, you're right. True equality is not making the women less sexy. It's just whoring the men out to the same level. That's what we want. It's like in Final Fantasy XIV, where, like, a lot of the skimpy clothing is just as skimpy for male characters as it is for female characters. It's like we don't necessarily want. It's fine if women are sexualized, but we want men to be sexualized to the same amount if that is the case, because then it makes things equal and doesn't really send the message of, like, women are objects. And there is probably a broader conversation to be had about whether objectification is okay at all. Monster Hunter Wilds did the same thing. Yeah, good. This is the kind of equality we want and need. And I think that's another reason why it frustrates me that a lot of, like, the straight male gamers get so up in arms about it. It's like, I'm not even really asking for them to have much less. I'm just asking for more for myself. Anyway, the same starting point. Only after leaving port and losing home does one understand what it means to go back home. Alright, let's... How long have I complained? Probably for like half an hour at this point. I'll get back into the story now. Yeah, I probably could go on about this all night. It's something I've thought about for a long time and had an issue with for a long time. God, on a slightly related note though, but Wuthering Waves, I think, is maybe going to announce, like, its next group of playable characters soon. And God, I hope there's at least one guy. Like, please, because PGR did just announce its, like, next group of playable characters, and it's all women. And I'm disappointed. Especially because, like, there are some male characters that people have been wanting to be playable for so long. You've got them right there. Come on. Just make them playable already. Like Vonnegut. I know he's like a bad guy, but there are a lot of other bad guys who are playable in this game. Who cares? Bring him back. Also, he just hasn't shown up in the story for a long time. They left it ambiguous whether or not he was really dead, and then haven't revisited that in a while. So I'm hoping he's not really dead so that he can come back and be playable sometime. Please, please. Okay, let's move on. The laboratory building has become a living hell. The entire ceiling light system has been corrupted. Lamp tubes have burst apart, their warped metal frames drooping downward like sprouting tentacles, swaying slowly through the air, their tips pulsing with a deep crimson glow. Shattered glass and broken door frames litter the floor. Sharp shrieks echo intermittently through the room. The three press themselves tight against the walls and push forward quickly. Rounding a corner, they spot the door to the Mind Research Institute at the same time. Oh, you know what's another thing that the whole, wedding thing kind of ruins for me a little bit? Because this, little friend group is 4 girls and the self-insert player character, who can be any gender. And I was having a nice little time being like, oh, I'm just their gay best friend. That's the other thing. I don't care if all of my friend characters are girls, because I've been the only guy in a group of female friends, and I've thrived there. This is fine with me. I am so happy to be the gay best friend.
The seal light is still green. We're not too late.
She rushes forward and presses her finger to the biometric panel. The light flickers once, and the lock springs open. All 3 of them charge inside at once. The crown is hovering silently on its magnetic cradle. True to its name, it is a precision-built structure shaped like a laurel wreath. Its outer shell a pale gold, its surface etched with patterns the Council has yet to understand.
Oh, thank goodness.
She dashes over and eases the prototype off its cradle with both hands, clutching it to her chest. The chill of the metal shell bleeds through her gloves. It hasn't been corrupted. It's still in perfect condition. In the next instant, as though something has set it off, the corridor fills with sound. The clang of metal and the snap of electrical arcs merge into a single din, as if every wall along the passageway has suddenly stirred to life.
They're coming!
With a deafening bang, the door is rammed open by 2 corrupted. Adelaide snatches up the nearest metal rack and charges to meet them. Her first strike crushes the lead corrupted skull. The second shatters the other's forelimb. Both enemies crumple on impact, and the path ahead clears for a brief, fleeting moment. Move, now! I guess one other side effect to the forced marriage subplot is that it does make me more invested in the other 3. And I also already said, there's as much as there's the forced shippiness between Lucia and the Commandant, I'm over here being like, okay, but what's the deal with Ophelia and Adelaide though? What's their deal? Because they're always bickering, they're always fighting, and yet they're the closest. What do you mean by that? What are you trying to say? The hydraulic line along her right knee is torn open. Spray of milky white fluid bursts out. Adelaide's body lurches violently to one side. She drops to one knee, jaw clenched, bracing herself with her arms. Ophelia hauls Joanne forward, charging over the mangled remains of corrupted, and battling her way into the corridor. Behind them, Adelaide drags her right leg, its hydraulics gone, using the metal rack as a makeshift cane and hobbling after them.
They're everywhere! Where do we go?
The corrupted tendrils dangling from the ceiling grow denser by the second. The walls on both sides warp and contort, metal conduits slithering out from the cracks and coiling across the floor like spreading roots. The corridor is closing in like a constricting throat. There's nowhere left to flee.
No way around. Then my lab, up ahead.
At the end of the corridor, a metal door marked Nano Laboratory still appears intact. Ophelia presses her palm to the access panel. The light turns green. All three of them stumble inside. The moment Ophelia turns to slam the door shut, a corrupted's claw shoots through the gap. She throws her shoulder against the door, trapping it, but the tip still slices across her right leg. I will also say, I mentioned before that Adelaide is a character who has been... She's one of the recently announced upcoming playable characters. And I'm a little sad that Ophelia hasn't also been announced to be playable, because I like her. I think she looks pretty. I like her brand of bitchiness. I like her. And apparently we did learn that she's apparently the sister of one of the other newly announced playable characters, which means that maybe she'll still appear in our timeline. But God, I like her. I think she's neat. Sometimes I see a prissy girl and I'm just like, I love her. And I think she deserves everything. Maybe it's because I am a prissy boy. Prissy boy recognizes prissy girl. She grunts through the pain, shoving the door shut with all her strength. The lock snaps back into place, shearing the claw clean off. It drops to the floor, still twitching.
Ophelia!
Ophelia slumps against the door and looks down at her right leg. A long gash slices across her outer thigh, its edges peeled back to reveal pale flesh beneath. Ugh. The wound runs deep enough to explode. Ugh. Ugh. Gross. I'm fine.
Fine? Your leg.
I said I'm fine! Outside the door, the corrupted have begun their assault. One impact, then another. Growing faster, more frenzied. The entire door shudders in its frame. Adelaide drags her ruined right leg to the door and begins hauling everything within reach. Workbenches, equipment racks, material cabinets. She shoves them one by one against the entrance. But everyone knows it won't hold for long. No more gore. I don't like it.
How is this happening?
Joanne stands in the center of the lab, clutching the crown to her chest. Tears slide silently down her face. Ophelia sweeps her gaze across the lab, the place she spent 3 years building. She can name every piece of equipment by heart, down to the model number. Girl, treat your leg. Her gaze locks with Adelaide's. No words pass between them. They simply turn, together, toward the small door on the western wall. The emergency exit. Ophelia lowers her head and stares at the wound on her leg. She spins around abruptly, seizing Joanne by the back of her collar. Fighting through the searing pain, she hauls Joanne toward the emergency passage.
Huh? What?
Let's go. Adelaide pushes in from the other side at the same moment. The two of them bracket Joanne between them and drive her toward the passage entrance, half carrying, half dragging her every step of the way.
Wait! Wait! What are you doing?
Ophelia yanks open the emergency exit door. The corridor is narrow, barely wide enough for one person. Stairs descend into the dim glow below, the lights weak but still holding on. Then Adelaide shoves Joanne forward. Joanne stumbles into the passage, her shoulders slamming against the tight wall. The crown nearly slips from her grasp. She catches herself and whips around. Ophelia is standing at the entrance, her hand already on the door handle. Joanne, it's okay if you're slow. Just don't stop running. Adelaide looks at Ophelia and gives a single nod. The door slams shut. From the other side, Joanne hears it all. The sound of something heavy being shoved against the door. The screech of metal scraping across the floor. They're barricading the exit, too. Ophelia! Adelaide! Open the door! Open it! Open the door! Her cries cannot break through the thick iron door. No one answers. Her fist slams into the wall. The skin on her knuckles splits open. Blood and tears smear together across the rough concrete. Then she turns, pulling the crown tight against her chest. And she runs, with tears in her eyes. She runs with all the strength she has left. Man, it's moments like this that I wish I lived alone, so that I could really go all out with the screaming. I have to keep quiet because my parents are trying to sleep. Ophelia scans the lab one last time. The machines she spent 3 years building, the data she compiled, the nanomaterial synthesis unit she tuned and retuned until every parameter was flawless. What a waste. All of these materials and I barely got to use them. With a piercing screech, the iron door gives way. The corrupted pry it open and stream through the fissure, one after another. Adelaide moves to meet them, still gripping that iron rod. 2 years as an instructor at FOS, drilling students on how to stay alive with whatever they could find. Now those lessons are hers to use. She sidesteps the first corrupted's charge, the rod sweeping through its forelimb with a crack. A kick to its torso follows, and a bolt of agony shoots through her right knee. A second blow lands. A third corrupted attacks from the side. She takes the hit head on, her shoulder splitting open. Blood streams freely down her arm. At that moment, Ophelia hauls a nitrogen canister from behind the lab bench and hurls it toward the horde of corrupted pouring through the doorway. Move! Adelaide sidesteps clear. Ophelia snatches up an electric probe and hurls it at the canister. The nitrogen canister erupts at the doorway. Cryogenic gas billows outward in an instant, flash freezing the front line of corrupted. Frost blossoms across their joints, their movements slow to a sluggish crawl. But only seconds later, more corrupted surge through from behind, trampling over the frozen, shattered husks of their own. They keep coming. This is it. Ophelia slumps against the lab bench, chest heaving. Her shoulders and arms are streaked with wounds. She scans the room and sees the nanomaterial synthesis device sitting just 3 meters behind her, its control panel still glowing a steady green. High-density nanosilver filament. 3 years of her life poured into it. The moment the magnetic containment is released, it will expand outward in every direction at 1,200 meters per second, like a bomb. Adelaide? Yeah. Remember our first holographic drill? Adelaide smashes down a corrupted, clawing its way onto the lab bench, then retreats 2 steps, her back nearly flush against Ophelia's. You charged me like a lunatic, pulled the pin, and took us both out. It was the most efficient call. I know. Her voice suddenly catches in her throat. Back then, I said I'd get you back for that next time. But I never did. Another wave of corrupted floods through. Adelaide sends a metal table crashing into them, driving 2 back, but a third slips in low from beneath. Claws rip across her calf. Her right knee, already ruined, buckles at last. She drops to one knee. Ophelia lunges forward, seizing Adelaide's arm, and drags her back with clenched teeth. She tips a table over and staggers backward until they reach the nanosynthesis device. Drained of nearly all their strength, the 2 of them collapse back to back, slumped against each other. Just like that evening years ago on the training grounds, when they'd finished hundreds of pull-ups and sagged shoulder to shoulder against the wall at dusk. All around them, the shrieks of the corrupted and the blaze of crimson light press inward like a cage slowly closing. All those postings you took. The front lines. Couldn't have been a picnic. It was manageable. I didn't really get hurt. You want to know what pissed me off the most about you? The corrupted crash through the barricade. They're within 10 meters now. Tell me. You never told us anything. Not how badly you were hurt. Not how dangerous your postings were. Not a single word about your knee killing you. Every time we had to guess. Piece it together ourselves. Lying awake at night wondering if you were even still alive. You'll throw yourself in front of everyone, but you never let us protect you. I don't want to make you worry. There. Right there. You're doing it again. She smiles wearily. If we ever get another chance, stop carrying everything by yourself, okay? Adelaide doesn't answer, but she presses her back harder against Ophelia's. Through the blood-soaked fabric between them, Ophelia feels her trembling. Ophelia? Yeah. I have learned a great deal from all of you over the years. You, Luke, Lucia, Joanne. Thank you. Idiot? I don't want your thanks. The corrupted shriek, overturning the last barricade. 5 meters now. This thing's blast radius covers the whole floor. The nanowires will tear through everything. Us included. Adelaide says nothing. Her hand reaches out, resting over Ophelia's on the switch. My biggest regret is picking a fight with you on day 1 at the academy. I don't regret it. 3, 2, 1. The next instant, nanowires erupt from the core of the synthesis device. Countless silver filaments, threads too fine for the naked eye to perceive, bloom outward in all directions at supersonic speed, like an iron flower blossoming in the span of milliseconds. They shred through the corrupted's armor, carve through steel lab tables, rip through concrete ceilings and pipelines. Silver wires surge in a roaring tidal wave, reverberating across the entire floor, screaming as they tear the space apart. Then, in the silence that follows, cracks spiderweb across every surface. The entire floor shudders and collapses. Behind her, Joanne feels the tremors. The walls of the emergency passage shake. Dust sifts down around her in thin, whispering streams. She clutches the crown tight against her chest, teeth clenched, running hard. Her tears streak behind her, spattering against the corridor floor. The emergency passage stretches on endlessly. The lights flicker on and off. Her footsteps echo through the narrow space, a frantic heartbeat in the dark. Time loses shape. Then the distant point of light swells wide, flooding across her face with a brilliance so sharp she has to shut her eyes. She stands now in Prism Square, the open heart of the FOS College District. For 7 years, she walked through here every day, gazing toward the distant Bifrost, brushing shoulders with cadets and colleagues, faces passing like currents in a river. And now, it lies in ruins. The entire world is on fire. Smoke chokes the skyline where Bifrost once stood. Against the horizon, Titanic corrupteds drift slowly over FOS, their bodies fused from the steel frames of whole buildings, moving like cathedral-sized beasts through the burning air. Cole! You're putting this, like, comfy, cozy emote while hell is breaking loose.
Hell. How is this even possible?
Joanne holds the crown tight against her and stares, frozen, at the fog-wreathed square. All around her lies human wreckage, blood and corpses, youthful faces drowned in red. A few she recognizes, most she has never seen before.
Okay, good night, Neo.
One by one, crimson eyes rotate through the fog, trembling with hunger. They hone in on Joanne in unison, a pack of wolves catching the scent of blood.
No.
Joanne claps a hand over her mouth and stumbles backward. Her shoulders crash against the wall behind her. The horde lets out a low, guttural shriek and charges toward her like a volley of bullets. Then a familiar silhouette cuts in front of Joanne, blocking their charge. Unexpected hero?
Back off!
Her right arm sweeps out. Metal plates snap open in layered succession, extending into a blade almost 2 meters long. It slices clean through an oncoming corrupted. She pushes forward another step. Flames pour from the metal joints, the blade heating to a searing white as it sweeps through the air, bisecting the corrupted on both sides. Crimson veins crawl across her metal arm, only to fade in an instant. These monsters cannot infect her. They can't.
Ms. Cassandra?
Joanne, listen. Take the crown and... She staggers, spitting out a mouthful of vital fluid. Her gown hangs in tatters, slashed open in several places to reveal the mechanical framework beneath. She has clearly been fighting for her life here for some time. Before the words are fully out, the towering corrupted in the distance locks onto them. It stretches its colossal frame and hurls its full weight toward them. Cassandra throws herself into its path, single-handedly bracing against the sky as it comes crashing down. Her feet gouge deep trenches into the ground, her mechanical joints screaming under the overload.
The beacon in the square. Dominic said Project String's back door is there. Back door? I don't... What does that mean? I haven't the faintest idea. Dominic only said, if the voyage ever went wrong, make for the beacon in the square.
Crimson steam howls overhead. The sky itself splits with a deafening shriek.
All of this on your body. That's the latest construct tech, isn't it?
Naturally, sweetheart. I was the very first Voyager to follow Dominic. Oh, you darling children. You came after me.
Why?
Because one day, Dominic told me these experiments, these weapons, could carry humanity further than we'd ever dreamed. So I said, fine, sign me up. Let me be the one to take the first hit for those children. Pain's got nothing on me anymore. With a fierce cry, she throws herself forward one step, carving out a passage just wide enough for Joanne to duck through.
Little Joanne.
Cassandra forces a smile and looks one last time at the girl who reminds her so much of Ninth Arts.
Time to run. I'm sorry, Miss Cassandra.
Joanne swipes at her tears and surges forward, the crown clutched tight against her chest. Behind her, Cassandra's roars and the scream of steel fade, quieter and quieter, until the white fog closes over them, and there's nothing but silence. She doesn't know how long it's been. Cassandra sinks into the ground, her mechanical arms dead weight beside her, crimson veins threading across every surface.
You really have no manners at all. Treating a lady like this.
The steel giant reaches down, seizes Cassandra by the hair, and, as easily as snapping the stem of a flower, wrenches her lower body apart before tossing it aside. Red vital fluid cascades down like a veil of rain. Her left arm, then her right. The giant pulls Cassandra apart piece by piece, like a child dismembering a toy, grinding every fragment between its fingers. Ugh. Drifting in and out of consciousness, Cassandra pries her bloodied eyes open and fixes them in a single direction. She's not dead yet? Damn. Toward the auditorium. That afternoon, 420 of them crowded around a battered piano, voices overlapping, weaving together a song they never gave a name.
It's you again.
A breeze stirs through long silver hair. A sharp, striking silhouette stands within the white fog, watching her.
Lucia. Or should I say, Alpha?
How do you know that?
So you're back at the same starting point again. Have you made your final choice then? There are many people waiting for you in the future. People who matter.
Still standing in the white fog, the figure observes Cassandra in quiet stillness, like someone watching an old, faraway memory that belongs to another. No words come.
Our voyage ends here, Alpha.
The steel giant unhinges its gaping maw and raises Cassandra's upper body with one hand, lifting what remains of her torn frame to its mouth. Why did she say that name? A name she doesn't even know. Perhaps it's some fragments Dominic left in her mind by accident during some experiment long ago. Or perhaps it came from somewhere else entirely. She can no longer remember. Ah, that's it. Dominic. She suddenly recalls that afternoon so many years ago. Sunlight pouring over the coastline. Dominic standing by the window. Back then, She had made a prophecy.
I'll bet that one day you'll die for your ideals, while I will ride my bestial instincts straight into the history books and live on forever in glory.
She takes in the wreckage around her, recalling the youthful faces, the lecture halls and hallways she raised from the ground, and the song that they never got to name, and the smile of the person inside her pocket watch, and that cheap technician who could never just tell her things plainly. If this is the ending everyone gave their lives for, then fate really is a cruel mistress. Everything we did, was it still not the right answer? The white fog offers no reply. Her ruined form shudders, tilts, and drifts downward into the deep. The wind sweeps through, carrying away the last whisper of sound. In 2160, a virus capable of corrupting logic circuits emerged from the vacuum of the zero-point reactor, descending upon the world without warning. Its effect on modern technology was so devastating that, even by the time humanity fell, its official designation had never circulated widely. In the survivor records that followed, people referred to it as the punishing virus. When the outbreak first began, the faculty and students who remained at FOS College held the line. Stripped of every modern weapon, they built their defense from whatever was at hand, and fought to contain the unfolding catastrophe with all they had. Roughly 193 minutes later, the final student seized a bundle of old explosives and ran into the enemy swarm. All 3,162 faculty and students of FOS College were lost. Even Joanne, though? 5 hours later, power grids worldwide, along with electrical communications and military command networks, went completely silent. The next day, mass panic swept the globe. Columns of evacuees on foot stretched for dozens of kilometers along the highways. More than 50 cities with populations exceeding 10 million were virtually obliterated before the dawn of the third day. On the sixth day, the remnants of humanity's military forces mounted a desperate counteroffensive. Soldiers went into battle wielding weapons 2 centuries old against enemies they could not begin to understand. Defensive lines were raised, broken, and raised again. Only then was it discovered that constructs performed with remarkable effectiveness against the punishing virus. But the world government's excessive caution meant the construct technology had never been widely deployed. By the time anyone understood, it was far too late. On the 10th day, the lunar base fell silent. The 800 personnel stationed there were never heard from again. On the 12th day, the Mars outpost transmitted its final message to Earth. By the 15th day, less than 7% of Earth's surface was still holding out. Survivors gathered in isolated corners far from any power grid. No electricity, no technological shelter. They relearned how to build fires, dig wells, and navigate by the stars. In 2 weeks, civilization was hurled back 2 centuries, and still the punishing virus spread. Humanity had climbed to the top of the food chain over thousands of years. It had taken centuries more to learn how to leave their cradle. Yet what poured from that cradle only took a matter of hours to swallow every trace of that glory. She no longer knows what day it is. Ever since she touched the beacon tower in the square, she has been wandering through this suffocating emptiness. Oh, so now she's in the fog too. Time has no meaning here. No sun rises, no moon sets. Nothing exists to measure the passing of days, but only an eternal, unchanging white fog. She drifts through the void, a leaf torn from its branch, tumbling endlessly with no sense of where she is falling. There is no destination. There is no bottom. This is crazy! Yeah, the end came much faster in this timeline. Because, I mean, in our timeline, we've still been holding out against the punishing virus for like 30 years at this point. Damn, in this timeline, they fell in like 2 weeks. She still clutches the crown tightly against her chest. Its shell is no longer the pale gold she remembers from the lab in her first year. The patterns are fading, the metallic luster dulling. The entire structure seems to be hollowing out from within, eroded by something unseen. The data stream has been cut. No information floods through its structure now. Disconnected from its source, it is slowly evaporating from reality. No. She grips it harder. Her fingers catch on the vanishing patterns. Her nails digging in, as though the sheer force of her own body might anchor it to this world. Still, the crown fades. This is what everyone gave their lives for. Ophelia, Adelaide, Cassandra. 3,162 students and faculty of FOS. All of human civilization. Every last ounce of that weight presses down on this fading piece of metal cradled in her arms. What if I just use myself? She closes her eyes, lifts the crown, and sets it upon her head. Without warning, an excruciating pain explodes throughout her mind. It's as if countless needles stab outward from the core of her consciousness, piercing every nerve, puncturing every memory, tearing through everything that makes her who she is, everything that makes her Joanne. Her body curls in on itself, convulsing in the void. Fragments explode across her vision. A torrent of data, too vast for her human mind to hold, floods into her, ramming against the walls of her consciousness, threatening to burst her apart. Starved of its external data stream, the crown begins to feed on its host. It devours her flesh, her memories, everything human about her. Joanne wants to scream, but her voice is already gone. Oh, fuck. Day 1. Her head threatens to split apart. She screams until her vocal cords tear. It is hell. Day 2. Somewhere deeper than hell. Day 3. Or is it? She can no longer tell. Time fractures into splinters. She surfaces now and then, just lucid enough to feel the crown still resting on her head, its markings glowing faintly again, rekindled, because it is feeding on her, drinking her marrow to keep itself alive. Conscious, unconscious. Conscious, unconscious. The gaps between waking grow longer. The moments of clarity grow shorter. Her memories drain away like sand slipping through her fingers. It's like seedling, kind of. from a couple chapters ago. Ophelia's voice, Adelaide's back, Cassandra's sneer, Lucia, Luke. Joanne claws for them. She rips each memory back from the crown's devouring jaws and shoves it down into the deepest vault of her consciousness, like a drowning woman forcing the last sips of air into her lungs.
Don't forget them. Lucia, Luke.
She murmurs the two names over and over, a spell to tether what's left of her mind. The crown is the world's last hope. If she falls, it vanishes with her, and all those sacrifices mean nothing at all.
Get it to them. To the right hands. To Lucia and Luke. If they have it, maybe there's still a way to fix this.
This thought becomes her only anchor, a single stake driven deep into the void. She binds herself to it, refusing to let go, even as the white fog and the crown peel her apart, stripping away her body and consciousness layer by agonizing layer. She no longer knows how long it has been. Years? Decades? Joanne cannot tell anymore. Her mind is a mirror, shattered and glued back together so many times that nothing remains but cracks. It can barely hold a reflection, but it can still hold two names.
Lucia. Luke.
Everything else? Most of it has faded away. Sometimes she hears things. Voices drifting through the white fog, through countless layers of emptiness, from somewhere impossibly far away. Someone crying, someone calling out, someone singing a song she thinks she once knew. Depths of the sea, edge of the sky. She reaches out to catch them. Her hands close on nothing. Then the silence returns, stretching on and on without end. Then, at some unmarked moment, tremor ripples through the depth of the white prison.
Huh?
She opens her eyes. There, in the white void, a crack has appeared in the distance. Something on the other side is tearing at it, clawing, pulling, trying to rip an opening into this sealed space. Light spills through the crack. Warm sunlight. The kind that belongs only to the real world. She hasn't seen it in so long. She doesn't know how much strength she has left. Not much, probably. Just enough for one last thing. She reaches out. Her fingertips brush the edge of the crack. Looks like Vonnegut was right this time. I really did find a surprise waiting in the tower. They mentioned Lithos was looking around. So is this Lithos? The white void seals shut behind her like a closing mouth. She crashes onto something hard, every bone in her body crying out in agony. The light is blinding. She squints, unable to make out anything, only that there is air here, and warmth, and sound. It takes a long, long time before the world before her finally comes into focus. See. So this is all that's left of your world? Yes, Aisling. Oh, so this is Aisling.
That crown, Sapphira. You mentioned Dominic was studying it. Did it go down with your world too?
Joanne's fingers falter, ever so slightly. She hates lying. Yes. Aisling asks nothing more. She appears to take it as truth. I have a question. In this world, is there someone called Lucia?
Yes.
And Luke? Across the chess table, the agent arches a brow at the name, a flicker of delight crossing her face.
Both of them are here. Why do you ask?
I can help you.
What do you mean?
You said there's a place called Babylonia in your world, right? That the FOS up there was built to train commandants who lead constructs. Granger gave me some devices yesterday. As a former researcher, I can tell you, there's a real Sapphira on FOS. And you need it, don't you?
Go on.
I want to pull the entire FOS starship into the fog to avoid fighting in space. Can you make that happen? Aisling smiles.
Of course I can. But a lot of people will vanish.
I know. But if you don't do that, your world, the home you came all this way from, it'll end up just like mine. It'll just take a little longer. Aisling studies her, her gaze full of scrutiny and calculation, tempered by a cold flicker of acknowledgement.
You just want to go home. Back to before any of this began, don't you?
The humans in this world, they won't accept a monster like me, Aisling. You know I don't have another way.
I thought as much, my devoted disciple. I'll pull every string I have. And while I'm at it, I'll draw off some of the pests in your way.
Don't make me regret this, Joanne. Joanne sits there alone. The air is cold. She stares at her own gaunt arms for a long time. She lied. There is no Sapphira in this world's FOS. The crown is right inside her. The crown means nothing without the right hands to hold it. Her own body is coming apart. Months maybe. Weeks possibly. She has no time left to earn someone else's trust. To find this world's Lucia and Luke through proper means. If FOS still stands in this world, then she chooses to believe that Lucia and Luke must be tied to it. There's no time left for her to walk down the right path, so she's taking the fastest.
Good night, Sticker Glue. Thanks for coming by. Sleep well, and thank you for saying so. I'm glad you think it's great work.
Drag FOS into the fog, sow chaos, then find them. Maybe they're already at FOS. Maybe they're already coming to its aid. She lowers her head and presses both hands to her face. White hair slips through her fingers like falling silk.
I'm sorry.
She says it silently, to the blameless ones who will soon be caught in the coming storm.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
But she will not stop. Because if she stops now, then Ophelia and Adelaide truly died for nothing. Cassandra truly died for nothing. FOS's 3,162 faculty and students, all of them died for nothing. Their whole world died for nothing. She lowers her hands, dries her eyes, and rises to her feet. Then she walks in the direction Aisling disappeared. Step by step. Each one heavier than the last. Either way, we'll all see each other again one day. Only after leaving port and losing home does one understand what it means to go back home. Ooh. Yeah, that was more fun. Feels weird to call that fun. That was more of what I expect from this game story. What I like. Also, we finally got the connection back to our timeline. Give me one quick second. I'm gonna get my blanket. It's getting a little chilly. Okay. Much better, much better, much better. Pilgrimage, life, ordeal. Just think of us as the scapegoats this story needs, alright? Time refuses to move forward. Someone is toying with the instruments that measure it. The digital and the mechanical alike. The second hand on my watch ticks once. Then I must wait a year for it to tick again. After I lost all of you, stranded in the fog, time just stopped for me. Look around. Everyone here shares the same kind of past. We're not monsters. We're just drifters who lost our home. Godless. Chapter 4. Everyone watches as the Chimera wraps her arms tightly around Alpha and flees into the endless void. As they rise, the void seeps into Alpha, fraying her hair, peeling away small pieces of her skin, splintering her shell. The first voices to pierce through into her failing shell belong to Leora and the others, the vanguard of that world. When I come back, we'll look for Luna together. We'll go see the dandelions bloom. And Froggy, from a really cute cartoon. When I come back, we'll watch it together, okay? But soon, there won't be any living humans left in this world. So this time, let us take the lead. We will definitely pass through the gate. Alpha, Lucia, takes in more of the vision from Vanguard member number 4, Leora. She watches her leading the way, all the remaining Vanguard members at her back. They chose to be the first to meet death. Thank you for coming to collect my belongings. There's a candy in the red box. I hope it helps sweeten the bitterness. Feel free to take a short break here, but it's not time yet to stop, Nemo. Like everyone else, I rewrote the rules of the Hetero Tower and became a part of it. We're close to having our own secret tunnel. When that time comes, take everything we've left behind and go to Dominic's era. Oh, by the way, I want to name this tunnel extending from the Hetero Tower the Bridge Across Dreams. Doesn't that sound nice?
If what you said is true, that sending the Sephiroth to other worlds can save everything. That everyone will come together, stand side by side, and beat the bad guys. But you probably couldn't make it happen. I'm not doing so good either. I can't go find Luna anymore. Then let me help you finish your mission.
The voices at Alpha's ear grow clearer.
Our little hero. Alpha, why did you set out too? I'm sorry, Lucia. I'm sorry. We failed. I'm sorry we left you at the base. I'm sorry we made you walk our path. I'm sorry you had to suffer so much. I'm sorry the grown-ups failed you. Can you forgive us?
A crack has split the surface of that cold and hardened shell. The agony of the fog's corruption feels as though it happened only yesterday. Her skin peeling away, her flesh eaten through, even the color of her hair bleached to white. Every detail remains painfully vivid. And yet none of that compares to the anguish of watching the Vanguard team vanish into the distance. Perhaps the deadliest poison in all the world is regret and loneliness. Another soul long steeped in that prison speaks now, her voice hoarse.
Time stopped for me the day I lost you all. In the beginning, there was only regret. I shouldn't have looked up at the dome. I should have kept my eyes on you. If I had just been paying attention, maybe you wouldn't have vanished. For the longest time, I thought you were dead. I thought you'd been buried under rubble, crushed by a falling ceiling panel. It wasn't until I had no choice but to accept the crown, until I gained access to knowledge I was never meant to have, that another possibility finally hit me.
The Chimera forces out a bitter smile, one that belongs to Joanne.
What if you two had simply gone somewhere beyond my reach? Somewhere I couldn't see or touch? Did that mean I still had a chance? A chance to find you? To give you the crown? Could I bring you back? And could we still save the world? The one we all refuse to let go of?
The Chimera cradles Alpha close against her.
I'm sorry. This is the only way I can talk to you now. But I finally found you.
Joanne. Alpha finds herself nearly breathless, wrapped in an embrace she never thought she'd feel again. What identity should she wear? What heart should she bring to face this bond drifting in a forgotten corner of the universe? This friendship? Or perhaps this obsession?
Lucia, you don't need to tell me. I know I've done wrong. While I was resenting the punishing virus for taking my friends away, I was doing the exact same thing to the friends of another world. I've said my apologies to all of you millions of times in my head. But I know Not a single one can undo what I've done.
Joanne wrenches her head around and lets out a piercing shriek.
But that's just how the world works. To do what's right, to grab that final chance. I had no choice but to stand on the wrong side for now.
Torn between regret and helplessness, Joanne speaks, burying one of her faces in both hands, as though the shame of facing an old friend, of facing the world at all, has finally overwhelmed her.
They all fought with their lives for this. 3,162 FOS students and faculty. All of humanity. Their sacrifices brought me this chance. I can't let their deaths mean nothing. This crown, it's so heavy, but I have no right to run from it. I am a survivor of the old world and a sinner in your new world.
Dad? What? Behind those buried features, a hollow, bitter smile fights its way onto her face.
I will cease to be. Just think of us as the scapegoats this story needs, alright?
The chimera writhes and tears at itself once more, its thoughts visibly unraveling. Different voices spill from its many faces, rival consciousnesses each clawing to be heard. Guess who found their old PS3 and is playing Hatsune Miku Project Diva? Is it you? Alpha stares at those familiar yet chaotic faces, each one parading before her in turn. Their mouths gape open, and the only— Ah! I wasn't done! The only words they speak are, "I'm sorry." And yet their hands hold fast to Alpha, refusing to let go.
Forgive us for doing whatever it took. This thread of sanity is all we have left to hold on to. Every single moment the fog and crown ate away at our minds, we held on to the good old days. Those memories. They're the only reason we lasted this long. Let's go back now. And promise me, never leave me behind again, okay? Our dear little Lucia. We failed you. We'll take you back right now. We'll promise never to leave you behind again. Okay?
With the whole of it settling upon her, Alpha's lips begin to tremble. But what can I do to save you? Dear grown-ups, what can I do to help you? Dear friends, what can I do to support you? If I wear the crown, I can take you home? Chimera's last strand of hope manages only a sigh, one that scarcely sounds human. Within the fog, all those long stripped of their home resonate as one. Chimera lets out a piercing shriek. The crown crashes down upon the chimera with crushing weight, ripping away the last shred of reason, seeking to transform it into something utterly lost.
Yes. Home. I want to go home. We want to go home. This long, cruel ordeal. We have lived it for far too long. We have nothing left to give.
Alpha remains trapped in the chimera's grip, her gaze drifting past it to the FOS starship, battered, wounded, on the verge of collapse. Along its hull, the tiny white moths are still beating their wings. Cover me while I'm moving in. Blade in hand, Lucia gives chase, only for the failures to come flooding from every rift of the fog. They rampage blindly, battering her mid-bound and sending her crashing back against the FOS. Watch out! The human lunges forward, catching Lucia as she tumbles down and drives her blade into the hull. Their deadly slide grinds to a halt just short of the edge. I'm fine. We can't let it take Alpha. In a single motion, Lucia rolls upright, hauls the human up, and lunges back into a sprint. Her frame roars under the strain, and deep within her mind, a current of unease churns relentlessly. Instinct tells her that if the Chimera takes Alpha away, the consequences will be beyond undoing. Without hesitation, she contacts the FOS starship. All units, stand by for covering fire. Lucia raises her head. Across the boundless void, the two Lucias lock eyes for a single moment. One of them lets out a thin, weary laugh. Perhaps it is the fog's gift of unwanted sight. Too much vision, too much truth, leaving her sharp with clarity and heavy with exhaustion. Perhaps it is the sight of this world's vanguard team, still clawing and struggling, utterly unaware that they are fated only to be swallowed by failure. Look, this world's ordeal has yet to end. Alpha understands now with absolute clarity that she can never lay down the struggle. She must take up the will of other worlds and fight on eternally, without end. This is her fate, the starting point of Lucia. If I take the crown, there's still a chance, right? Even if it costs all of you. The Chimera has collapsed entirely into chaos, capable now of nothing but incoherent wailing. Alpha has made her choice. Held fast in the grip of these maddened old friends, she tightens her hand around her blade and begins to fight back. She grits her teeth and wrenches one arm free, shoving away the familiar faces that crowd around her. Then she draws her blade, strikes to sever the Chimera's arms, and claws fiercely at the core nestled in the fissure of its chest. Perhaps the crown itself, only for the Chimera to swat the blade from her grasp. Hi, Wesley! How are you? Hope you're having a good day. Doesn't matter. I don't need it. You're fine? Well, I'm glad you're fine. Alpha's hand lashes out with desperate resolve, plunging deep into the Chimera's chest, tearing through the blue-violet mass in search of what she needs. The Chimera lowers two of its heads, sinking teeth deep into Alpha's shoulders, and begins to tear. This is nothing. You've all endured far worse. The Chimera snaps both of Alpha's arms, and Alpha answers with her teeth. She, too, sinks them into the Chimera's neck and chest, tearing back with raw ferocity. Damn. Like the most primitive of humans gnawing at bloodied flesh, save that both of them hold tears of blood. Lucia catches sight of Alpha's sudden feral counterattack and freezes for half a heartbeat, then drives herself forward even faster. Don't worry! Don't push it! We're coming! Her cry cannot bridge the distance to Alpha, so Lucia lifts her blade and sends a razor-edged arc slashing through the void. But the distance is too vast. The energy wave carries for only a moment before the void devours it whole. Damn it! A sudden tightness grips Lucia's chest. The churning emotions within her mind clog the energy flow of her Omega Core, leaving it sluggish and strained. Hurry! We have to do something! Commandant! Got it! Target Chimera! We push upward again! Target locked. Vanessa's voice filters through the comms in broken fragments, carrying with it a thread of weary mockery. Honestly, my whole career just running support for someone? The hell with that! Fire! The erupting force field slams into the Chimera, jolting its escape route several degrees off course. Alpha is still clutched tightly in its arms. There's our opening! Go! Lucia and the human leap upward together. With a swift stroke of her blade, Lucia cuts down the monsters blocking their path. The moment her blade strikes true, their data floods into her. Countless memories of failure surge through her mind, each one a dull, throbbing ache. Right. Everyone here in the fog has lost their home. But I'm not losing mine. Not again. Now, strike, Lucia! The white moth shoots skyward in a blur, bringing her blazing blade down upon the Chimera's body. It hurts! It hurts! Ugh. The blow wrenches the Chimera's arms loose, and Alpha spills from its grasp in a tumble. The human catches Alpha securely, only to find her body ravaged and torn from the Chimera's savage assault. Seeing another familiar face, Alpha shuts her eyes against the pain, letting herself feel the arms wrapped firmly around her. How am I supposed to face you now? Strike with her, Alpha! The human cradles Alpha's head, forehead pressed to forehead, fingers gripping her ears while shouting. The fog degrades all information, and sound is no exception. Yet through the haze, a memory surfaces within Alpha from that long-lost world. Two figures in bulky spacesuits, clumsily pressed together in the void of space, confessing their feelings to one another. Don't associate that with me in this world, though. Just like now. Comms cut off. No sound able to carry across the silence. Only visor against visor. But even then, the information reached the depths of their hearts. Open your eyes, Alpha! Something in the touch against her brow and ears resonates deep within, forcing her eyes to open. Before her, the human's lips seem to shape words she knows by heart. Lucia, just beside her, labors over her torn body. Seem to. Right. To not lose where I belong again. To go back home and still fight. I can do it. I can do it! Alpha staggers to her feet and takes the blade Lucia offers. The wounds along her arm push back against the fog's corruption, flooding her limbs with renewed strength. Vanessa stands on the deck, her gaze fixed on the figures battling above. Soon, a streak of red light blazes to life. The Chimera recoils from the devastating blow, shrieking as it falls back. It thrashes like one drowning, cleaving through the fog that coils around it. More vagabonds pour from the rifts, surging toward the insects swarming below. Not far away, adrift in the gray, humanity's ark floats on, its communications tower still flickering defiantly. Comms tower's holding. Babylonia's message came through. And Lucia and that reckless fool made it to the Chimera. Vanessa tallies the situation in her mind. Then the starship lurches beneath her, and she stumbles. She steadies herself, but barely. Great. But everything's falling apart. What's next? Right. Activate the beacon in the monument and restart the main engine. She clamps her hand over the wound in her arm, but still the blood flows relentlessly out of her. Her life ebbs with it, her consciousness dimming at the edges. Even so, she forces her gaze upward, watching the two little moths fly toward the Chimera. Then she lets out a sneer. Now I get it. Some people are born to chase the stars right to the edge. And some are destined to stay stuck on the ground, on the deck, looking up at their backs, in shame. She touches the hollow where her eye used to be. But that's our job. Without people like us, who the hell catches you idiots and lunatics when you fall? Slowly, she raises her uninjured arm and gestures toward the Grey Raven Commandant and Lucia, soaring through the sky above. She salutes the fallen. Tell Instructor Eliana. Said hi. She opens the comms, broadcasting to all units. Tell the stars. I said hi. She walks toward the next duty she must bleed herself dry to fulfill. She walks toward the monument. All units! Anyone near the square monument, get that beacon inside it activated at all costs! Everyone else still breathing and moving, get to the main engine and restart it. I don't care if you use the control room or climb the damn thing yourself. We give everything we've got to support the Grey Raven Commandant and Lucia. On the smoke-scorched, battle-damaged deck of FOS, someone wrote those words in blood. No one who lights a torch in the dark should ever be forgotten. Can you still get up? If you can still stand, let's move. We need to activate the beacon inside the FOS monument, and then homeward. Gameplay? In this economy? Hi, Roth. I'm so afraid of how much I will miss you. Oh, are we starting already? Okay. Okay.
Watch out for the mist! It'll corrupt your wounds! Thunder! Not without. Against all odds! Not to perish? Another vagabond filled with regret.
Been a while since I've seen you. Hi. Hey, girly.
Against all odds. Not to perish, not to end. Abyss
Bye-bye.
for me. Not without. There's no end to these things. I can still fight.
Ah.
Against all odds. My blade shall quench the fading light.
Wait, I've got some kinds of buffs. Oh. I'm being weakened.
Not to perish, not to end. Abyss bow before me.
Ah, they're taking my orbs.
Not with against all odds. My blade shall quench the. I'm losing control of my body. Not Not to perish, not to end. Abyss, bow before me.
Am I even... Am I even dealing damage to them anymore?
I can't fall here.
As Chimera's sanity crumbles, more and more rifts tear through the fog. Lost vagabonds rampage through the fog, lashing out blindly at anything and everything, as if venting rage pent up from enduring corruption for far too long. Lucia props herself up with her blade and stands, struggling to keep the Omega Core feeding energy to her frame. The human kneels in the corner, fingers trembling weakly around the gun, drained of strength. The FOS starship drifts in silence through the fog. For half an hour now, not a single shot has been fired. Concerned for the little ship, the human steals a glance back, only to find its lights faint and faltering, about to die. This is a long, grinding battle of endurance, one that might well have no end. Get up! All eyes can see it now. The vagabonds within the fog are massing, pressing close to one another as the Chimera guides their alignment, gathering force for one strike meant to kill. Damn it. I have to move away. Alpha's grip on her own body is slipping too. The vessel Luna shaped for her cannot withstand the anguish seeping in from multiple worlds. And yet, even then, when the horde of vagabonds launches forward like a hail of arrows, descending upon the solitary figure trapped in a corner of the fog, it is Alpha who cries out first. Lucia, move! The doom, long in the making, locks on to Lucia and comes driving straight toward her. Lucia! Alpha's frame, shattered nearly to the point of dismemberment, suddenly surges with power. She charges forward, crimson katana raised high. The human lunges ahead as well. Lucia senses two lightning-fast figures plant themselves in front of her, One gray, one red and white. Alpha shoves the human aside, but the shockwave of the vagabond still strikes. A gash tears open, blood streaming freely, and it's clear the human is now dragged to the brink of death.
I'm fine.
And through the gaping hole torn through Alpha's abdomen, Lucia finds herself face to face with the massive swarm of vagabonds on the other side. Golden red flames blaze to life along her katana as Lucia swings, cleaving through the vagabond's limbs.
Why won't they stop? Cut them down and they just keep coming. Why? You knew my frame could outlast yours. You knew the fog would make your wounds worse. And Commandant...
The human's face is ghostly pale, the blood draining from the body far faster than anyone could have imagined.
Why does it have to be this way? Why won't it ever stop?
With bitter rage, Lucia slashes through the enemies, guarding the human and Alpha as they retreat onto a drifting platform that appears steady enough. Doom shows no signs of pausing. Within moments, the relentless flurry carves flesh and gashes across Lucia's frame as well. This is a total collapse, not something that can be stopped by one person standing at the front to shield the others.
It's fine. I'm fine. I can still keep going.
I'm fine too.
I'm also...
Blood no longer pours from the human's mouth and nose. There's likely none left to spill. From the great wound in Alpha's abdomen, crimson liquid still drips in a steady rhythm. Her frame is moments from breaking apart, yet she forces herself onto her knees, brushing aside all efforts to restrain her. By now, she's probably holding herself upright on nothing but a spine of sheer will. Too many vagabonds. We don't clear them out. Can't reach the Chimera. We have to take the crown from inside its body. Lucia throws a stunned glance over her shoulder, as though trying to determine if Alpha has also succumbed to the fog's corrupting madness. After all, from the moment Alpha tore herself from the Chimera's embrace, she has been consumed by an obsessive need to extract something from it, whispering words over and over that Lucia cannot grasp. But even a split second of distraction costs her several more wounds, ones that refuse to heal. Such wounds would typically mean little to her, but from the speed at which energy seeps out of them, she senses that under some influence, the Chimera has quickened the decay of all things. Crown? Decay? She suddenly realizes she can no longer remember how many wounds cover her body. Her sense of her own frame is being stripped away. 19 wounds? 59? Or 109? The data in her mind is indeed slipping away without restraint. She can feel her grip on her body and her memories weakening with terrifying speed. She is vanishing. The Chimera is erasing them all. A kind of erasure far more dreadful than being killed in battle. Suddenly, Lucia darts back to where the human and Alpha are, sinking to one knee. There, she meets Alpha, still fighting on her knees, face to face, their gazes holding. That dream you had when the Chimera was holding you. Tell me, how terrifying was it really? So terrifying you can't bear to lose anything more? So much that you'd throw your life away for something I can't even understand? I don't know how to put that into words. This isn't just some simple investigation anymore. The kind Babylonia dispatches task force squads to handle. I'm not completely in the dark here. I can feel something in my mind. Alpha! Mid-sentence, Lucia bats away a lunging vagabond, but not before it carves another wound into her frame. As of this moment, Lucia bears 195 wounds across her frame. Alpha closes her eyes for a moment. Just losing people who mattered most in my life. Over and over. Not just in this world. I've had those dreams too. Watching the people who matter die right in front of you, again and again. If you're lucky, there's half a limb left. More often, it's just a pool of blood. Nothing left to hold on to. Can't even recover their things. Just clinging to scraps of their last words. Turning them into something you have to live by no matter what. Trapped in the fog. Can't even cry out. Fighting and fighting with no end in sight. Lucia's voice arises. She can't help but recall that frantic, desperate flight she relives over and over in her dreams. A space just like this one, empty in every direction, her visual modules flickering between black and white until her perception spirals into chaos, leaving only the sense of moving through fog. And in that dream, what was she fighting for? All that time, I failed to protect you. I can't watch you die again. This is the future I've always longed for. A peaceful world, and a world where you're there. Alpha gazes at Lucia, and in those desperate eyes, she sees a reflection identical to her own. Alpha lifts a broken arm, as if to brush away the tangled strands of hair covering one of Lucia's eyes. Why even you? I need you to understand. We're the same. What terrifies you terrifies me. What drives you drives me. Ever since we first reunited, you've been like this. Keeping to yourself, refusing to let anyone in, carrying everything alone without a word. Ugh. The vagabond's onslaught grows ever more frenzied, and at last a claw finds its mark, piercing through Lucia's shoulder. Her 196th wound. So you tell me, Alpha. Tell me, if I get this crown Sapphira you talked about, if I bring it to you, will that fix everything? Slowly, Lucia draws the broken limb piece lodged in her shoulder out from the wound. Will that take everyone back home? Her voice is thick with pleading. The pain racking both Lucias is so overwhelming that they can barely make out each other's silhouettes. Yet both can still see, with perfect clarity, what they are fighting for. Yes. Alpha nods. With the motion, crimson droplets scatter from the ends of her hair, flashing onto the human's forehead. I have to get the crown Sapphira's power, even if it means death. I see. I'll keep fighting. You watch over Commandant. Lucia lifts the dying human and gently sets the broken body beside Alpha, leaving the two battered figures propped against each other. This is my fight too. Lucia, how much longer can you last? Forever. I can last forever. Lucia answers through the gray dimness. I have the Omega Core. It will never fall. Lucia's auditory module is failing as well. She can barely make out the sound of her own voice now. But she knows exactly what she's been turning over in her mind ever since she landed beside the other two, the Omega Core. Using the data from Project Winter, Hyperreal Frames records, the Phantom Tracer, and our enhanced Omega weapon, we combined everything to use that egg as the carrier for creating an Omega Core. Beyond granting immunity to the punishing virus, The Omega Core lets the body harness punishing as an energy source, like an Ascendant, so it no longer needs stasis pod recharges and can operate continuously. She rises and walks toward the Chimera, shrouded in the fog. As she moves, it strikes her once more. The energy driving her frame is built on the efforts of countless people. Vera, Liv, Nanami, Bianca, even Lamia, Luna. A shriek. Another vagabond shoots out of a rift, skimming past her left arm and leaving behind a new gash. Her 197th wound. Right. We clawed our way out of hopeless desperation too, fighting tooth and nail for just for a chance. A vagabond charges with a howl. Lucia is quicker. She impales it in one thrust and casts the corpse away. By now, her composure has turned chillingly steady, yet the assault still carves new wounds into her frame. Her 198th. We have to end this now. No more dragging. Neither of us can outlast the fog. Battered and broken, Alpha charges forward with the human's equally shattered body in her arms, sprinting toward a sparser patch of vagabonds to buy a moment's reprieve. Lucia's gaze locks onto Alpha's silver hair. At some point, the tips have taken on a crimson-black hue, the exact same shade as her own. We're the same. You'd do the same thing in my place. Alpha doesn't look back. She just leaves her with a single line. Remember this. The one left behind suffers more than the one who falls. Alpha has clearly seen through her thought. And let me be selfish this once. Lucia tightens her grip on the blade. Her gaze finds the human's hand. For a fleeting moment, as if she's holding it gently in hers. It's my call now. Everything humanity built during the Reconquista age, it's been handed to me. Time to use it. Lucia breaks into a sprint, charging straight toward the Chimera, cutting down every vagabond that stands in her way. Then the thrusters mounted on her frame erupt with fire. She soars alone into the vast void. Alpha doesn't stop. She can feel the life ebbing from the body in her arms, yet she keeps running, searching for somewhere safe. She won't stop, because she knows she has become the guardian now, the one left behind to carry on. The Chimera, too, seems to grasp the unspoken understanding shared by the two Lucias. It sweeps a hand forward, and a wave of vagabonds surges toward Lucia, clawing and tearing in a frenzy to stop her. Her 199th wound. Her 200th wound. Lucia raises her blade. Again. And for the last time. The fog is where the vagabonds roam free. We might never be able to defeat them here. In that dream of mine, this frame's Omega Core kept me going for many, many years. But this time is different. I'm not fighting this alone, and none of you can last forever the way I can. The fog's eating away at everyone, bit by bit. She, too, once had a dream much like Alpha's. The loneliness from it still haunts her. It's all right. It's all right. I can get through this. This frame is gonna get me through this. Commandant, I miss you. I miss you so much. She fears becoming that Lucia wandering in the fog. The one who kept whispering, "It's all right," to herself. She fears becoming that Lucia who repeated endlessly how much she missed Commandant. How desperately she wanted to see Commandant again. And every minute she stood guard at Commandant's side, she's been silently turning over that Lucia's anguish, reliving the terror that consumed her.
If everyone's gone, and I'm the only one left standing, then what was any of it for? She can't go through that again. I'll buy everyone the time they need, while I still can. She meets Chimera's attack head-on, racing along its arm, drawing closer and closer to its face. She reaches the Chimera's forehead. I have to become you. At last, she raises her gaze and looks back. She never dared voice this before, afraid of worrying everyone. But now, as if truly submerged in that dream, she finally speaks the heavy burden she's carried all along. I'm so afraid of how much I will miss you. Lucia stops before Chimera and raises her pyro katana high, aiming the blade at her own chest, where the Omega cord glows with gentle warmth. She will no longer be the flame standing vigil through the endless night. Instead, she will ignite herself first, to become a beacon that lights the way home for those who follow. The pyro katana pierces the core. Radiant flames erupt, flooding the gray expanse with the only color it has ever known. The flames wash over every vagabond, tenderly soothing them, freezing their attacks mid-motion. The flames sweep through the fog, forcing back every last vagabond. Even the FOS starship is shoved backward by the sheer force of the energy unleashed. Only one figure remains. Alpha lowers her gaze to the human in her arms. Her breath is so faint, she cannot bring herself to check if it still comes. So it seems her wish has been granted. She is the last one left alive. She watches as the flames sweep across everything in the fog, finally enveloping the Chimera itself. The agonized behemoth writhes in the fire. Lucia's flames sear into its body, burning one blackened hollow after another. Both Leora and Joanne have lost all control over this body. They are nothing more than puppets now, dancing on despair's strings. But another will, or more precisely, another data, forces its way into the fused creature through the scorched wounds, locking it in place. After a few seconds, the Chimera's shell stirs. The crown seems locked in a fierce tug of war with Lucia's consciousness, and the creature begins thrashing violently. Until a hand rips the skin from its face, and the hollow cavity beneath. From the hollow cavity beneath comes a voice, gentle and achingly familiar. Now. I'll finish this. Last one standing takes it all. Alpha lunges forward at breakneck speed. With a shrieking roar, her katana shears through two of the Chimera's arms. A few years back, we were at each other's throats. Just like this. Alpha's mind drifts to her first encounter with Lucia among the ruins. From that very day, the two of them have always chosen this path. I look forward to your choice after learning about the truth. The truth. Again and again. The Chimera stops tearing open rifts. The vagabonds dwindle, cut down one by one. Alpha hacks and slashes at the Chimera. When it lifts an arm to fend her off, she hacks it free. When its tail comes thrashing, she drives it through and nails it still.
We make different choices. We walk different paths. But still wind up in the same place. Finally, as the Chimera lets out a piercing shriek, Alpha drives her blade clean through, pinning the creature to the cold, lifeless hull of the FOS starship. Is it over? Is this the end? Or the starting point I always circle back to? And you, and all of you, still give me an answer? Alpha staggers to her feet and raises her blade once more. The Chimera trembles as it extends its last two remaining arms. The crown. Take it. A crown carrying every happiness for you. And the last one left to bear all that pain truly still be called happy? But Alpha has no time to dwell on such questions. She watches as the Chimera's two arms arc through the air, then plunge viciously into its own colossal frame. It churns through flesh and sinew, rips free a formless mass, and lifts it toward Alpha like an offering. Go to that world of happiness. Happiness. Lucia, wait for us at the base, alright? I promise you, we'll succeed this time. We'll put an end to this crisis. We'll be there for you as you grow up. We'll make sure you have a happy life. I hope you live a life filled with happiness, Lucia. I had no idea about tonight. It's just alumni catching up over dinner, right? Lucia, Luke, I wish you... Joanne doesn't finish. I held on as long as I could. But the moment I found you, the fog and the crown devoured my mind. All I wanted was to pass the crown's power to you, because you're the only one who can wear it. But I lost myself, and only hurt you more. I'm sorry. I know I probably don't have the right to say this anymore, but... this is the only chance I could give you. Don't waste it. Wait, so is Lucia dead? Again? Like, for real this time? Don't let everything be lost. The fog before Alpha begins to shift and flow, painting scenes from the past across her vision. It's as if countless figures stand before her, hands stained with blood, bodies broken, and gently place the crown upon her head. Thus is born a queen, broken and utterly spent. Go, lead everyone home, back to a world of happiness. What? Well, I mean, there's still 6 stages left, but... what? What happens now? Is Lucia dead for real again? I feel like that can't be it. Like, that felt so sudden. I feel like if she was going to die, there would be a bigger lead up. Anyway, it's already 2, so I think I'm gonna stop here, and I'll finish the rest of the story tomorrow. Alright. Let's see who else is streaming. Thank you for coming, Yue. I hope you had a nice time. Let me think. I think let's go raid Tehungi. It's been a while since I raided him. He's very nice. I don't know him very well, but I think he's cool. I like his energy. He's a nice guy. Well, he seems like a nice guy. I don't know him very well. But yeah, let's go raid him. Go say hi. Okay. I think I will be back tomorrow to stream some more. So yeah. I'll see you again tomorrow, and we'll see if Lucia's really dead. I feel like she can't be, but I could be wrong. Anyway. Yeah, I'll see you all later. Bye-bye. Thank you for coming. Bye.